of glory. We the Ambazonians, special loyalty. Praise to our Savior who granted us the freedom. Allegiance to the hero for God alone we gather. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing with and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, usually repent in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, usually repent in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation.
Fellow Ambalanders, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and good morning again to every one of you wherever you are. Today is the 27th of September 2024. And once again, I'm delighted to come to your screens, your TV screens, your phone screens, your laptop screen this evening, this afternoon, this morning, to talk to you about the most eventful things that have been unfolding in our territory in the last couple of weeks, and what is currently happening, and what of course will be happening in the next few days. We know it's been a very eventful month. The month of September has been a very eventful month, and we discussed at length with the president last week about the 2 weeks lockdown, and today we are here to analyze the successful lockdown, the rationale behind the lockdown, its successes, and of course its impact in our liberation struggle. And also, we will not leave without talking about the most important day of Ambazonia, which is the Ambazonia Independence Day. And I am delighted to bring to you the very brains that have that would bring you details and answer all your worries and your questions about the lockdown, about its successes, its rationale, and also 1st of October, our Independence Day. So join me in the studio as I discuss this in depth with the Vice President of the Ambazonian Governing Council, the SG, the Secretary General of the Ambazonia Defense Forces, the Chairperson of the Ambazonia Education Board, and of course, my humble self, the Press Secretary of the President of the Ambazonian War of AGovC and the leader of the Ambazonian War of Liberation. Mr. Vice President, I love the smile on your face. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm smiling because we are slowly defeating Cameroon. Cameroon is panicking, Thanks a lot.
Right. Okay. Mr. SG, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you, and greetings to our televiewers.
Thank you, sir. And of course, Reverend John, welcome in the studio. You're very frequent these days, and I love that fact. I love what you're putting on there. Representation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, PS, for having me again in one of your programs. I greet your audience. I greet Ground Zero. I greet everyone. We are stronger. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, today we'll be discussing the successes of the Ambazonian lockdown, the rationale behind that lockdown, and also the impact it has created for our struggle. But most importantly, we are going to talk about the most celebrated day in Ambazonia, which is Ambazonia Independence Day. So, Mr. Vice President, I'm so delighted to have you. And I'm shocked that you're even smiling today, because whenever you are in the studio, you're like, so I'm so delighted to have you today smiling. That means there is so much hope, there is life, there is everything our people. This is what our people will be looking to see. So welcome once again, Mr. Vice President, and we want to thank you. The other day you came out and you encouraged Ambazonians, and you spoke with so much fire, and it has bring a lot and settled a lot of doubts and a lot of concerns in the heart of Ambazonia. But before we come in, we also had a panel discussion that discussed the importance of that lockdown and then on the Ambazonia educational system. But today we are not talking about lockdown again. We are talking about why did we even implement the lockdown? I'll start with you, Mr. Vice President. What was the rationale behind this lockdown, and why was it so massively successful across the national territory? What was the secret, sir?
Thank you so much, Madam PS. And good evening, good morning, good afternoon, Ground Zero, Europe, the US, Asia, and wherever you find yourself. As the PS has rightly said, I'm rather happy because of two things. First October coming and the preparations that I have seen and I know they are taking place, but also because of the lockdown and the last lockdown that lasted for 2 weeks. The rationale behind the lockdown is to do with showing the world and also giving a slap on the face of Cameroon to tell Cameroon that your purported normalcy is a fallacy that you concoct in Yaoundé. It was also to do away and remind Cameroon that part of this problem is about dismantling our educational system. And that educational system remains intact through the Ambazonia Education Board, through the community schools and the private schools that have taken authorization from us to operate. But it was also to highlight to the Ambazonian people and the international community who owns the land. We, the Ambazonian people, we, the Ambazonian leadership entrusted with the responsibility to free ourselves, showed the world, showed our enemy that through that respected lockdown, we are the true owners. So the rationale was both political, it was diplomatic, and it was civilian in nature, in order to project the opposite of a normalization of activities, to project the true owners of the land, and to project our determination to be free. That was the rationale, and it was achieved in its entirety.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. We are very happy to have you in the studio, and we would love to have you more in the studio to talk about this thing, because Ambazonians truly need to know this firebrand, because you are not that kind of so I'll leave it at that. But thank you very much for giving this clarity to our people, because it's very important for our people to know why there was a lockdown. And I will bring this question to you, Mr. SG. The success of this lockdown was overwhelming, because it did not only it did not unite just the forces or the civilian population, but our schools also rose in their numbers and really embraced this lockdown. And they did it joyously. We had no complaints coming in, irrespective of the fact that it stemmed from the 11th to the 22nd of September. And we had some people trying to come in and try to distort what was planned. But we saw the overwhelming success of this lockdown. Mr. SG, with this level of success that happened in the territory, not just at the level of the fighters, what message is this to the people of Ambazonia, and what role did you, as the SG of the Ambazonian Defense Forces, play to see that there was this massive success for this lockdown in the territory?
Thank you, Madam PS. Thanks for having me today. I'm someone that I don't talk a lot. I do. What we wanted the international community to know is that the people, the so-called people that he is occupying, own that land. To the soldiers, we wanted to project what is called power. We own the land and we have the power to adjudicate who goes in, who goes out, and who tells the people what to hear.
Right.
So from my office, we made sure that we instruct the soldiers, our sister forces, to be in that same line, communication with our population as well. Remember, without the population, we have no country. And at the end, the people had to understand this because they are tired of occupation. I rest my case.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary General. And I would like to come back to you again on this. Would you say there was some level of cohesion on the people to respect this lockdown in the national territory? Is it that they did it out of volition, or they were actually coerced by the fighters on the ground with threats of, if you don't obey, we are going to take you out? Is this what happened? Because we would like to know that this was a willful thing done by the population and unanimously done by the population, not under any form of coercion. Can you give this assurance to us and tell us how you said that there was a good level of communication, and how long did it take you to be able to convince the whole territory? Ambazonia is a country of over 8 million people. How was it that you successfully, pulled through with this, and it was so marvelous? So please talk to us, sir.
Community mobilization has always been a strategy for us to win minds. And not short, this has been going on from day one. From the background, for us to achieve any success with our soldiers, we need to build a community that is conducive for us. Let me come back to you with this. Even La République du Cameroon themselves, they were not seen out there because they respected our laws. They weren't seen out there. Now, did you see any of our soldiers on the street firing gunshots to scare our people? No. No. People understood because it was already a strategy from us from day one to mobilize our people, to lecture them about these barbarians called La République du Cameroon. And at the end, man, we don't tire, don't tire.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. SG. Like you said, you don't talk a lot, and your few words are always very clear. And Reverend John, I just want you to stay calm there for me, and I will come to you very soon. Mr. Vice President, I also know that the success of this lockdown has shaken the very fibers of the governance of La République du Cameroon. And we've seen a lot of moves here and there. And but our people still stand strong on this. Are we looking to have a more unified Ambazonian forces on the ground and a unison voice amongst our people, especially because there was a very successful lockdown within this period and there were no complaints coming in from anywhere? Are we now saying that, oh, truly, Ambazonia is a reality following this successful lockdown?
Ambazonia has always been a reality. It's the time of the actualization of its reality that we are fighting to hasten. The successes of the lockdown are also due to the population vomiting not only Cameroon. As the SG has rightly said, our people are sick and tired of colonialism. They are sick and tired of Cameroon. They have vomited Cameroon, and they have vomited those Ambazonians or those people that are Ambazonians that purport to speak for Ambazonia, by disrespecting their own lockdown and following the nationalist movement, the AGovC, under the leadership of Dr. Cho Ayaba Lucas. That is what they showed. And by showing that, it means our population has come of age. If you subjugate people for 63 years and they're able to rise up, you can only lie them for a short while, like other activists, purported leaders wanted to lie them, and they copped on and followed the right voice. As such, there is always unity in the pursuit of our freedom on ground zero in the diaspora, but that does not take away the existence of spoilers, enablers that mingle among us and pretend to speak for Ambazonia and to pursue the aspiration of our people. Our forces are united on the ground. Taking over, I thought it was going to be a big challenge, but the zeal, the determination, the alertness of our forces, of our population, and all AGovCs to rally and give it a final push gives me hope that we are nearer our destination than we thought we would be at this moment. And as such, rest assured that our people are united in spirit. They are tired of Cameroon. They have vomited Cameroon. And they know the organization, the leaders that speak truth and that stand for nothing but our dignity, the right to self-determination, and we will invoke our right of self-defense to make sure that our land remains our land. Nobody can stop us from doing that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. And again, Reverend, I just keep staying there for me for 1 minute. Let me go back to the SG and ask this question. Mr. SG, there have rather been speculations that say that the time span for this lockdown was too long and it brought more suffering to the people of Ambazonia. That if you had made it maybe 2 days, 3 days, it would have passed the same message that you wanted to pass for a 2 weeks lockdown. Do you agree to what these naysayers or what the public opinion is saying? And why was it taken for this period of time? What was the reason for spanning in for this long period of time?
Look, the reason for us to span in for this long time is also, like I said, because we have been in communication with our people. And for every lockdown that we take, it's not just something that we just stand out here and blow the whistle and then it becomes effective. It's something that we build cohesion between ourselves, our forces, and our population. But lest you forget, which one do we want? Kale, or you want a lockdown that you are projecting the end of your slavery? And our people knew for a fact, that the only way, if they want freedom, is for them to showcase to the whole world that they can even do 1 month because they have the love for their country.
Okay. And to follow up on that, Mr. SG, is it based on experience on what has been happening in the past years when Cameroon announces school reopen, that we see a lot of continuous arrest, massacres within the territory that cost the Ambazonian Governing Council and the Defense and the War Council to bring up this idea of the 2 weeks lockdown? Or was it just a strategy on continuously trying to project the authority of Ambazonia within Ambazonia?
Look, we have rejected anything called Cameroon. Okay?
Right.
We have rejected anything called Cameroon, even in resemblance. even in resemblance. So whether you say it's something to build up a strategy or whatsoever, I will tell you, anything called Cameroon, we do not need it in our faculty. So how it comes, let them take it that way. If we want to adjudicate to our people, our force, to tell them we are the owner of the land, it does not matter how, we are the one to adjudicate it. They don't need to tell us. If they want to sit in, they will sit in and they make no noise. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
So we
Thank you very much for that.
What happens in our land. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. The chairperson of the Ambazonia Education Board, I know for a fact that this lockdown was also a Reverend. Are you with me? I think we lost Reverend John right there, but I hope he gets back. And Mr. Vice President, I'll come back to you on this because it has to do with the Ambazonia educational system. And the president in the last interview said, we are doing this because we are introducing a new form of education to the people of Ambazonia. And this lockdown was just a step towards projecting that fact. And we are not, that we don't want any resemblance of La Republique educational system in Ambazonia. But we see, we don't know if schools have resumed after these 2 weeks in Ambazonia, or we still are holding to the fact that schools will resume next month. So what do you have to say in terms of back to school in Ambazonia on this, Mr. Vice President?
Thank you, Madam PS. Our curriculum of education is nothing like the handbook of education that Cameroon has. Cameroon's education is about 8 decades behind. And this lockdown was meant to make that demarcation, that separation between going to school and being educated. And as such, we made sure that the reopening of schools in Cameroon do not coincide with opening of an educational system in Ambazonia, because the two systems are parallel. One produces imbeciles and nothing to do for the family and society, while the Ambazonian curriculum of education produces assets to themselves, to their families, to society and the nation. And as such, most Ambazonian school would begin after our Independence Day. It shows a clear departure from the spoon-fed type of schooling that you have in Cameroon. What you have in Cameroon is not education. And it also shows that we are in support, and we've done everything possible through our education, the Ambazonian Education Board, here represented by the chairman, to develop an up-to-date education system that is not only physical, but can also be virtual, and the certifications are internationally recognized because they are standard certifications that fall under the international systems. Cameroon certifications, while endorsed by UNESCO, they are on paper, but with Ambazonian certifications and the modules and courses and programs that you undertake, you come out being equipped with the skills, the knowledge, and the know-how to perform the field in which you have studied. And pushing the education system away from it, as we said, showed that we have vomited that imbecile system of education, and we are embracing the global local educational system that is being introduced slowly but effectively in Ambazonia. I hear.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. I don't know if Reverend John is back, but Reverend, can you hear me okay? Okay, I think he's still frozen there. Mr. SG, and I will come back to you with this same question, Mr. Vice President. The the Convention on the Right of the Child says that talks most importantly, one of its most important article talks about the best interest of the child, and public opinion is of the view that stopping children from going to school is not in the best interest of the child. That by stopping school resumptions in Ambazonia at the time that it was supposed to be is not in the best interest of the child. Please, can you defend the position of the Ambazonian Governing Council or the Ambazonian Defense Forces in respect to this best interest of the child, as it is widely speculated?
Thank you, Madam PS. We are at war. We fully understand that. With the Ambazonian Governing Council principles with regards to education, no child is to be deprived to go to school. Now, our level of us in the liberation is not about talking. We always come in with what we call solutions. If we say no schools, we come in with a solution. And that's the solution that we came in with our schools, community schools, and then private schools which are owned that will conform to our norms. Nobody can tell us we don't do that. We have showcased that in previous 1st October, not once, not twice, until today. The Educational Board, the chairman, the Secretary of Education, they can showcase that in archives. So nobody can tell us we didn't provide a solution. And that's a solution there, which I, for one, as the Secretary General of the Ambazonia Defense Force, with where we have had as buffer zones, we guarantee our children to go to school. That has been showcased all over the territory.
Okay.
I yield.
Thank you very much, sir. And I'll come back to you there, Mr. Vice President, to elaborate more on this principle of the best interest of the child, because it is very important for our people to understand, especially the international community, when the first argument is always about preventing the children from going to school is not in the best interest of the child. But from our own view, what is in the best interest of the Ambazonian child at this time when we are in an active war in Ambazonia following this lockdown, sir?
Thank you, Madam PS. At this moment in time, every Ambazonia is valued, but more so children and women and girls, they are more valued. And by the way, there is no universal start date for education. Different countries have their different days or different times that they start their academic year. So the Ambazonian Governing Council has not stopped children from going to school. They have stopped children from being intoxicated by the Cameroon system of education, and we have developed new educational material and pushed forward our start date for education, just like education or school start at different dates in different countries. And because Cameroon and Ambazonia are two separate countries, it is unthinkable that Cameroon, through its colonial thinking, would imagine that they can impose a start date and an educational system in Ambazonia. But Ambazonia has vomited. So that's one of the reasons why the lockdown was so successful and people opted for 2 weeks before we implemented it. And as the SGR said, we consulted so that they can vomit to show Cameroon that we are not interested in your colonial education. We will start our schools when we want and in a line with other countries that don't start school on the same time. And I think this in itself is a clear indication of the mindset of the Ambazonian people, of the mothers and fathers, and that leadership in the AGovC takes the views and the aspiration of the Ambazonian people in consideration every time we make a policy.
Perfect. Thank you very much, sir. And also, just to top on that, it's also very important for our people to understand that in an active war environment where bullets are flying everywhere, left and right, it is in the best interest of the child to stay at home where they are more safer than in a classroom where bullets are also flying left and right, because a child that is alive and not in school, it's more important than a dead child who is lying dead in a 63 years intoxication educational system classroom. And again, before we will move to the issue of October 1st, which I wanted Reverend John to be here to answer some question more on education, but I'm also sure that I know for a fact that you also were abreast with the community schools in Ambazonia, and you have coordinated, or the SG have coordinated the community schools. So Mr. Vice President and SG, which I would like you both to answer this question. Are we telling the world or our people that we have community schools that are effective and are running using the Ambazonian curriculum that will be starting off next month or in January in different parts of the national territory, that our children will have education, but have the best education in Ambazonia?
Exactly, Madam PS. On our website, the Ambazonian curriculum of education for both kindergarten, primary school, secondary schools, up to higher learning levels are were published, and we partner with different organizations offering education online as well as physically, face to face, in order to deliver the best education at the moment to our kids. And whether they start in October, in January, as we rightly said, there is no universally agreed date that if you start on this date, you'll be more intelligent than if you start on another date. So that is why you find us putting the interest of the Ambazonian child at heart and making sure that they get the best, but also to give them the chance to showcase through our Independence Day what they have, and to showcase and tell Cameroon that they have abandoned them, that we are done with you. This is who we are. And that's why you find the interest in obeying our own curriculum that has been developed painstakingly for the last 2 years, and we started implementing it last year. And with my meetings, the high level meetings with all the organs of the organizations in the last 2 days, the education board and the education department is waxing strong. All the logistics are in place for effective resumption of schools in some areas after Independence Day, in other areas in January. And as such, is the number of weeks and months that you spend in school that matter, and not when you start school.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. And the same question goes to you, Mr. SG, being in charge of the national territory in terms of defense. Are you assuring Ambazonians that we have these community schools across the national territory, or these are only in strategic communities that we have full control over?
Thank you, Madam PS. Before I answer that, your question is, I would like to tell Ambazonians to please go to the educational. I think the
Orion Ambazonia.
Please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to
Orion Ambazonia.
To please urge Ambazonians to go in there and see the miracle in there. You know, when they started this project, I was one of the members in there, and I got schooled with coordinators. It was wonderful. It was very wonderful. So, coming back to your question, look, the VP has just said it all. The Ambazonian people know what is best for them. We, all of us that are today grown up, know what we have had in terms of the four walls of education from Cameroon. I will tell you today, in every space of the territory that we govern, that we have dynamic control, there is a community school. That I can assure you. And the children are going. Showcase, 1st October, you can see it. So I am proud of it.
Thank you.
Our people are proud of it.
Thank you very much, sir. I love the confidence and the boldness in which you're speaking about those community schools. That just shows the level of authority.
I know the play. I know the play when I tell you, madam. I know the play. I know the lie.
Right.
I don't.
Okay. Okay. Shake no day. Okay.
No day.
Mr. Vice President, I also want to come back to you again on issues of community schools and education in Ambazonia. We've had more than over 1 million persons displaced over the last 8 years in Ambazonia. We have IDPs within the territory in the most interior or hinterlands of Ambazonia, places where they cannot access mobile phones or other stuff. And we have children, a good number of children, and many have been born within these bushes. And it's our belief and the hope that all of these children should have the right to access education. So how are you and the leadership of the Ambazonian Governing Council making sure that even the children who are internally displaced also have the opportunity to have some form of schooling or education? How is it working out for the organization, or what is it doing?
Thank you so much, Madam PS. The organization has put in place, and through our education representatives and the ATLA, on ground zero, a framework and a process of mapping out areas where schools, Ambazonia schools and community schools in general have not established, and they are training trainers. They have a training program for trainers through the education board on the ground, where trainers from the hinterlands and the most remote areas are brought in for training, and then they are then dispatched back to the field to offer the most basic education to the newborns who do not require intensive education. They need education for effective awareness of their environment in growing, and to prepare themselves for formal education. So we do that through, they might not be connected, and obviously for practical reasons, to the world, but they receive their education face to face. And we do that through training of trainers on the ground. And that program has been running. This would be the second year in a row where we train trainers before school resume. And that is, this year we have focused more on training trainers from the hinterlands, from quite remote areas, than those that had received training before. But they would have what we call continuous development, and that will come in during mid-term or mid-year, where they come in for their refresher courses.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. That was very important. When I bring up some of these questions, I strategically bring them up because it's important for our people to hear directly from you as the leader of our liberation in the interim for now, because it gives them assurance to know that even our internally displaced persons are not neglected. We think about every one of them, the refugees as well, and those that are in the communities. So I thank you very much for that succinct clarity that you gave there. And also, just to add that the education board, I'm saying this out of my experience with them in the last panel discussion, because they mentioned that they also have set up printing labs within communities where they bring up these trainers from the hinterlands, just like you said, sir, to come there, print out materials from Orion, Ambazonia, and then take back to these IDPs within the communities or in the hinterlands to train them on how to use these materials and keep them more under continuous development. So I don't want to dwell much on this education and the successes of the lockdown, because we've all seen it across the national territory. The world spoke about it. International news outlets, they spoke about it. And that projects the power of Ambazonia, which irritated a lot of people. But I want us to go into 1st October, and then we'll talk about what this lockdown has done to La République du Cameroon and where we are now. So, Mr. SG, I want to give you the floor to talk to us. No, before you come in, let me ask the Vice President to first of all talk to Ambazonians about 1st of October. What even is 1st of October? And why is it different from any other date? Why is it different from La République on Independence Day?
1st of October is our Independence Day. Independence Day to every nation is a proud moment, a proud day where they fly their colors, they are happy, and they cherish and glorify those who fought for their freedom. The only country on earth that shies away from its own Independence Day is La République du Cameroon. So that tells you the depth of lies, the depth of shame that they have to celebrate. You find in all countries around the world to be very close to the day that they finally found their freedom. And that day, they show the world that their forefathers and their foremothers were defiant, and that they are proud to stand shoulder on shoulder to continuously defend their independence. And as such, Ambazonia's Independence Day will project to the world and to Cameroon itself that while you are ashamed of your own independence, we, the Ambazonian people, who have never been part of your country from the beginning, are proud to say that today, 1st of October, marks the day that our independence was granted, declared, restored, and we, the forces and the civilians, we are defending it through self-defense actions, but also through civil disobedience and civil resistance tactics. And as I told you, I came to the studio, I was happy because what I have seen, the preparations that I have observed towards the celebration of our Independence Day on Ground Zero and abroad, it leaves me thinking, well, I'm lucky to be born in this generation. I am lucky to serve the Ambazonian people at this moment in time. And that is my greatest joy.
Thank you very much, sir. And to you, my ever SG. I want to ask you, it's similar question to what I've asked the Vice President, but I want to ask you, so what historical events and narratives are most important to the Ambazonian identity, and how do they shape the significance of the Independence Day in Ambazonia? Answer it in however you want to answer it, sir.
The first, Madam PS, is to tell you thank you for that question. And the first answer I want to give you is that I am proudly Ambazonian. So to tell you that I'm proudly Ambazonian sends shockwaves into those who are listening, the weaver birds, the apologists, the colonizers. And I will die proudly Ambazonian. Let me tell you something. Even in your closet, even in their closet, they know for a fact that we Ambazonians, just being an Ambazonian is the best thing that has happened for us in our lives. When you see the day of the celebration, I just want to ask you, I want to ask those who are listening to us, And the day that our mothers used to give us 100 amber to go down and stand on the sun before waiting for an SDO to come after maybe you go 8 o'clock and SDO come around 3 or 4 o'clock, or is it 2 o'clock for us to march. And you see today the selflessness of children standing for just showcasing being proudly Ambazonian in their minds, flowing. See the soldiers holding the flag. What does that tell you? They are proudly Ambazonians. And that alone has made the international community to understand that the people are determined.
Perfect. Thank you very much, sir. So just to follow up on that, Mr. Vice President, so how does celebrating the Independence Day empower the younger generation in Ambazonia to engage more in the cultural and political heritage from what the SG has just said and from what you said as well?
The Ambazonian cultural or sociocultural heritage is very rich. Children are happy to belong. We have long been denied that identity, called rats, called ennemi dans la maison, Biafra, this. So celebrating your Independence Day is a reckoning, a day of reckoning, where you show your oppressor that finally I have shown you who I am. I am proud of who I am. I am delighted for my culture, for my people. I now have dignity as a human being and not a rat. And I will show you through my colors, through my culture, through the exhibitions, through the march passes, through the memorabilia, through the edifices, through the paintings, through the clothing, wrapped in our blue and white colors and gold stars, that I have come of age. And I am proud of it. And there is nothing you, Cameroon, can do, because you are never coming back. We are gone.
Wow. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. And just hold on there for me, and I would like you to answer this before I go back to the SG there. So what are the potential impacts of Independence Day celebration on international perception of Ambazonian struggle for sovereignty? What do you think this the Independence Day will be to them?
Cameroon assertion that the crisis had been solved and normalcy had returned, it was shattered by the 2 weeks lockdown because Cameroon was questioned in the corridors of power. You said everything came to normalcy, but we saw the place was locked down by the people, championed by their leading organization, the Ambazonian Governing Council. The Independence Day celebration is going to tell the international organizations, even national bodies and regional bodies in Africa, that these people truly, they are gone because they have done this year in, year out. That is even the reason why Cameroon precipitated the recent saga, so that we feel down, we feel demotivated coming up to our Independence Day and we don't celebrate. They will be shocked to see the colors of Ambazonian flying over the rivers, the forest, the grasslands, the trees, the people, the houses. And I call on all Ambazonians, wherever you find yourself. Two of you, you are alone, fly your colors, take a video, post it online, share with your friends and families, and make yourself proud that you are that generation that is finally bringing freedom to the nation, to its people, because Cameroon has killed, has maimed so many, has disappeared so many, and they didn't have a chance to witness what you are witnessing. It's a joyful day for Ambazonia, I can assure you, and we will do everything to make sure that your land is free. shake, shake, no day, shake at the bow, as we say in Bawan.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. And let me come back to you, Mr. Firebrand, the SG himself. The last few days have been a very eventful few days, and but we are still looking forward to the celebration of the Ambazonia Independence Day. Tell us, sir, what is the situation on the ground? Are our forces energized? Are they looking forward to celebrating the Independence Day? Is the morale intact, or are there some withdrawals and demoralization? Please speak to Ambazonians, sir.
Thank you, Madam PS.
Bring that tone, sir. I don't, that the way you started is, I don't want that. I want you to come out. That, yes.
Madam PS,
Yes, sir.
I wanted to reference you when you came in and you asked the Vice President, why is he smiling? The Vice President was smiling because of what he saw, the level of preparedness that we are. Let me tell you for a fact that shake in no day for ground. What is happening on the ground? This is what will carry us till the finish line. Our boys have never been steadfast. They have never been steadfast than these few days. Myself, I was taken like this. I couldn't believe my eyes. When I brought in our Vice President, when he took over command, we couldn't believe what we were seeing. Even till today, I am going to tell you today, authoritatively, that we will have the best of the best 1st October. I can assure you that.
And are you giving us this word across the national territory or segregated part of the territory?
Take it from me.
There's been an assumption that the fighting is concentrated in a particular part of the national territory, while others, there is a life ongoing. But not answering your question for you, but the lockdown came and disproved all of this. But I want you to further clarify the people on the nationalness of this 1st of October celebration.
Madam PS, look, fighting La Republique in our land, like I said, they don't adjudicate where we fight for us. And fighting La Republique in Ambazonia is a strategy that has outstretched them so much. The block-by-block strategy has nailed down La Republique. Let me say this, and let it be on record, that it's just a matter of time. Take it from me, La Republique is done and dusted in Ambazonia.
Thank you.
They have no place in Ambazonia again. I can assure you, whatever you are, excuse me, whatever you are seeing going on right now, we talk in pidgin saying boom 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 boom. No boom boom. Man with the boom boom. I hear.
Okay, thank you very much, SG. And coming again to you, Mr. Vice President, I know your table has been very full with a lot of requests coming in these past few days and also submissions of projects that are ongoing. Mr. Vice President, are you telling Ambazonians, or would you be informing the international community that Ambazonians across the globe are also rising to stand in solidarity or proudly standing to celebrate their Independence Day in the diaspora, despite everything that is happening?
Exactly, Madam PS. And as I rightly said, you cannot take Ambazonians for granted. Cameroon thought that by doing what it is doing, they will divert attention from their defeat through the lockdowns across the entire territory So those naysayers that says the resistance is only one side, they are mistaken. They don't understand the Ambazonian shake. They don't understand the Ambazonian mindset. And Ambazonians in the diaspora and across the national territory will joyfully and proudly celebrate their Independence Day on October 1st. And that in itself shows you the dedication and the cohesiveness between the population and its leadership, between the population and its defense forces, between all the different fabric of society within Ambazonia and beyond Ambazonia. It also tells you that despite the leader that we have at any particular moment, the aspirations of the Ambazonian people come first and foremost. And it is that aspiration of the Ambazonian people that drives you and I, the SG and everybody else, to shoulder on as if we're the last man standing. If Cameroon and the international community, through their conspiracy, think that they have done away or they have put somebody in a quiet place, I want to assure them that they've taken away a moderate person. They have allowed the hardliners to take over in the AGovC. And after October 1, they will hear from us. I hear.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. I will give you a few minutes before we wrap this up to talk to us about the event of time. But before we move forward, I wanted to, I don't know about you, but for me, since I grew up, I was going through primary education with La Republique form of education. And the famous days I know of are like 11th of February, 20th of May. What else? 11 February, 20th of May. Those are the most days celebrated. We've never heard about the celebration of the Independence Day of Cameroon. And today we are talking about the celebration of the Independence Day of Ambazonia. This is instilling different values to our children to identify who they are, to understand their uniqueness and their identity. And why you said before that the only country that shies away from celebrating its own Independence Day is in Cameroon, but do you think it's beyond just being shy or trying to hide something from us? Because the history has been distorted in that country and nobody knows what day is what day, and we are bringing back the institutionalization of our own uniqueness and identity to our children by introducing to them when we were truly a nation to them. What is why do you think these people have never really come out to talk about their own Independence Day, Mr. Vice President? I don't know if you got where I'm coming from.
Exactly. It's a fraud. Cameroon is a fraud in itself. And Cameroon used 11 February and 20th May in order to cover up the fraud. Because had Cameroon celebrated its Independence Day, it would have exposed that Cameroon were two separate nations that came together. And as such, Cameroon hides to its own citizens and to Ambazonians that there exists a clear demarcation in terms of culture, in terms of institutions, in terms of education, in terms of the legal systems, in terms of governance, in terms of mindset between people in the east of Mongo and people in the west of Mongo. And the old adage that goes that stealing originated from Cameroon holds true, because French people are thieves, they are liars, they are manipulators who manipulated 11 February and 20th May to become celebrated as their own national day, not Independence Day. Whereas these are days that they colonize Ambazonia, or they epitomize their falsehood of triumph over Ambazonia. And we grew up in that fallacy. Thank goodness this generation has risen to fall no more. This generation has risen to write the correct history of Ambazonia and possibly for Cameroon for themselves.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. Thank you. So it's very, I'm really honored to have you in the studio to bring this clarity to our people. And to you, Mr. SJ, and then we'll wrap this up because we have another meeting coming up. With the fall of our general, big number, or General Efang, there's been a lot of speculation that the force ADF is dead, and that the Independence Day we saw last year under the showmanship or leadership of General Efang is nothing. We will see no such thing because La Republique has taken out the brain behind all of these organizations and community mobilization amongst our people. What is the assurance, or what do you have to say to Ambazonians when it comes to the celebration of this day, and especially with the fall of General Efang? And they know the Ambazonian Governing Council and the ADF, that they always name a general after the fall of any general.
Thank you, Madam PS. We have understood the beast that we are dealing with. And so far, so good. We know they are Koni. And as they always say, Koni man die, Koni man bury.
Right.
So we know where they expected us because we have their strategy. What's his name again? The ugly buffoon called Buba. We know his strategy is decapitating the head, you know. So we have left them now in a limbo where they cannot understand how operation goes. If you want to ask yourself, from when General Efang passed on to power, has there not been numerous attacks? Numerous. That's to tell you, Ambazonia is an ideology. If you like, you take out an Efang, there are 10 more Efangs. Just like the Vice President just said here. Let me tell you, and I say it on record, what is coming La Republique's way is more than what they think. Because the Messiah that they thought that was very lenient has been taken away. We are under the concrete, but we germinate. We germinate.
Okay.
And I can assure you with every blood of every Ambazonian, the pain that we have in our hearts can never be forgiven to this La Republique, guys. Take it from me.
Okay.
I don't mix my words.
Still in that tone and in that spirit in which you are right now, I want to ask you this, Mr. SG. We've been reading online. It is no secret anymore that the leader of the Ambazonian War of Liberation a few days ago was taken in for questioning by the Norwegian authorities, and we hope that he is in good health and is in good condition now. But there's been a lot of speculation on the social media that with him taken out, the forces have dropped the arms and they are going back to La Republique. Disarmament, I don't focus on those, their foolish names and all of that stuff. Is this true to the people, or so does Ayaba leaving the struggle means the Ambazonians' liberation has come to an end?
Madam PS, no. Categorically, no. Because I think you and I sitting down here should have been off the network long time ago. We should have not been seen sitting down here. That's to tell you that we are patriotic to whatever we do. Like I said again and again, we are the seed that is buried under the concrete, but will still germinate. Ambazonia is an ideology for me. They take the Ayabas. There are 100 more of Ayabas out there. Even you sitting down here, you are Nayaba. I rest my case.
Right. Okay, thank you very much. And back to you, Mr. Vice President. And you are the Vice President of the Ambazonian Governing Council, but at this moment in the organization and within the Ambazonian struggle, you are the current leader of the Ambazonian War of Liberation and the interim president of the Ambazonian Governing Council. How the shoe fits, sir? How is the fire coming on?
Once you take a mantle to lead your people, God gives you the wisdom and the grace. We, in the Ambazonian Governing Council, we might take the glory, but I'm not going to take the glory as the leader and the commander or the deputy commander-in-chief at the moment. I'm going to give the glory to the people in the Ambazonian Governing Council, the structures and the processes that have been respected, the fighters on the ground, the civilians that have stood shoulder to shoulder. As I've said, I have had several high-level meetings with all the departments and all the individuals within the Ambazonian Governing Council and the ADF family, both abroad and on the ground. And the spirits are high. The respect for the rules, the charter, the code of conduct is impeccable. And as I rightly said, the thing that they have taken away Ayaba, but they have ushered in a new generation that they would know the colors as the days and weeks go by until Dr. Ayaba is released. So it's, for me, it's a privilege to serve. I would not say I'm a leader. I'm a servant of the people, and I know my faith. I know the faith and the aspirations of the Ambazonian people, and that is freedom. I will fight. I will do whatever it takes, because to me, what matters is not Dr. Nyih. What matters is the freedom of our people, so that they can live in dignity, without fear. They can live in pride. They can have an Ambazonia that provides them opportunities. Their soul can stay where they were delivered and not roam around the world as ours is roaming. And that they can have the best outlook, be born, educated, grow, work, retire, and enjoy the Ambazonian that we all yearn for. And
That's right.
The Ambazonia Governing Council and its people, its organs, its structures have given me that mantle, and I take it with pride and determination to serve without fear or favor, and that our common enemy that must be dealt with and, if possible, moved away. If there was a means to move Cameroon away from Ambazonia, we will. So Cameroon,
Okay.
this is the moment that you thought would never come. And we are ready for you, as the SG has said. What is coming your way, we will only see. I hear.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. And my last question to you, and then I'll give you the floor to give your closing remark, both of you. We know that while serving as a vice president, you've led most of the international diplomatic endeavors with in collaboration with the Secretary of State, of course, and the team in itself. And are you giving us Ambazonians the words that despite the leader taken away, you continue to maintain these relationships, and that this relationship, we still have our relationships intact with all our international partners? And do you think in your leadership, Ambazonians will see a more a linear stance when it comes to Black Legs and collaborators with La République du Cameroun?
Not a chance. Not a chance. Black Legs, enablers, weaver birds, the day of reckoning is near. And we have made this clear to our international partners. Those that betray during the adventures of Hitler across Europe were held accountable after Hitler was defeated in their various countries. That would be same. After the war, we will not only blame Cameroon, but we will hold those among us that pretended to be with us, but were selling our children, our fighters away. We will look after them. We will bring them to justice. With regards to international diplomacy, throughout the last 3 days, I have met nearly all of our key international partners, and I will be finalizing that meeting with the last remaining key partner next week. And I think the spirits are high in that area. They are great inroads, but we notify Cameroon that we will win you on the battlefield. We will win you on the battlefield. That is a given for us.
Okay.
We are not so
Thank you
much
very
interested in negotiations at this time, but the international community must bring pressure to bear on Cameroon. And remember, diplomacy has non-disclosure agreements and confidentiality. So I would rest the case at this moment.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And I'll get back to you there, SG, for your closing remark. If you don't mind, I will give you 1.5 minutes to give us your closing remark, and you will have same Mr. Vice President to give us your closing remarks.
Thank
Mr.
you, Madam
SG.
PS. Thank you, Madam PS. I want to thank the Ambazonian people and let them remain steadfast. Let them be patriotic. Let them understand that the only enemy we have is La République de Cameroon. They started the war. We didn't start the war. We are just the custodian of that land. And we will make sure that by all means, as if it depends on me alone, to fight La République till the end of time. So long I live on this earth, even if I do not complete it, my children will take the mantle. It is a relay. So I want to thank each and everyone for believing in the Ambazonian Governing Council, the Ambazonian Defense Forces and sister forces. And let's go ahead and enjoy our 1st October. Show your patriotism, enjoy yourself, and rest assured, freedom is near. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Vice President.
Thank you so much, Madam PS, for hosting us today. Fellow Ambazonians, dear soldiers of the revolution, especially the fighters on the ground, the civilians in the lion's den, una place day. For our incarcerated in Kundengi and other dungeons of La République dotted across the east of Mongo, I can assure you that your day of freedom is nearer than you think. For all our internally and externally displaced, all the refugees across Africa and beyond, you will come home, and the day for you coming home is near. Our forces are in good spirit. They are ready, they are poised, they are daring. What you need to show them is your support. Self-defense is an inalienable right. It's a natural right. And in the absence of the invocation of the right to protect, we take on the responsibility to protect our dignity, our identity, our sovereignty, and our land and people from colonial invaders, from barbarians of Yaoundé and Cameroon. I call on you to fight as if you were the last man standing, because I will never, ever depart from the path of total freedom from Cameroon. There is no middle ground. There is no federalism. French countries don't federate. We know the beast we are dealing with, and as such, we have applied and we will apply through experience, through research, through case studies, the best tactics that have crumbled Cameroon's administration in Ambazonia, that have humbled the infamous bees in the terrains of Ambazonia, that have allowed us to move from den guns to automatic weapons, that has allowed us to move from tree branches to explosives, to make sure that any Cameroonian military or forces planning genocide, burning of houses, killing of people in Ambazonia will be brought to the books, and that we will chase the last vestiges, because that's what is left of Cameroon's failed attempt to colonize Ambazonia. We will make sure that they are exported out of Ambazonia, either in body bags or willingly leave Ambazonia. I can assure you that our collaboration with the Biafrans, our collaboration with other international partners, be them not known, are yielding fruits, and that your continuous support as we move to our Independence Day in 4 days and our normal monthly fundraiser tomorrow, Saturday, will go a long way to supply your forces, will go a long way to open more community schools, will go a long way in order to create more healthcare centers, primary healthcare centers, will go a long way to make sure that rubbish is not left on the streets. It will go a long way to provide basic amenities to the internally displaced, to the suffering of your people, and that through your support and your dedication to the cause, which is total freedom, total independence, or nothing else, will make you proud to have lived during this time of our life. Hail, hail, land of glory, land of honey. I am proudly Ambazonian.
Right. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. Thank you, SG. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. It's been an honor to have you both in the studio. And if you don't mind, I would like you to take them out for now, and then I will just close up with this conversation. I thank you both for taking out time from your busy schedules to join me here in the studio. And fellow Ambazonians, what can I say to you? You heard it all from the horse's own mouth. You heard the Vice President. You heard the fire that he brought on board. You heard, of course, the SG. We've always known him to be the firebrand. And I have nothing much to add to what they've said. We are happy. The leader is doing well. The leader is, of course, you have confidence in the leader that the mistake they made was taking him out of his home to take him for questioning. He will use this opportunity. Ambazonians, you must be rest assured and be happy that it is a new dawn for Ambazonia, because this is when you will know that the case has been well presented to the international community, because he will definitely school them on the history, the root causes of the Ambazonian War of Liberation. And we want to encourage every mother, every father, every child within the Ambazonian National Territory to stand strong, and especially to our defenders of the national territory. The SG is already speaking to you. You know the drill. Keep standing strong and defending your mothers and your fathers. You will not watch your younger ones murdered in cold blood in your presence, and you will not watch your mothers murdered, your sisters raped in your presence, and you will stand idly by. That is not acceptable. No country or no people will accept that. And we just want to continue to encourage our prisoners of conscience, those that are languishing in various jails of La République du Cameroon. This fight, we are all in this together. We have not forgotten about you. You can see we are still standing strong, and we are fighting to make sure that you all come back home. And to our refugees and IDPs, keep holding tight. We will all return home to the place we call homeland one of these days. So I just want to say thank you as we look forward to celebrating our Independence Day in just a few days. Let us all come out and celebrate and commemorate this day and show the world that we are truly an independent people. We have our Independence Day. Cameroon and Ambazonia is not the same. It is not one and indivisible. It is two and divisible. They are not the same country. And we can only prove to the world by projecting these things and putting them right to their faces. And then they will go back and do their own research and know why we stand up to fight for our freedom. So God bless you all for taking time to be here with us in the studio, for listening to the Vice President and the Defense Chairman. It's unfortunate the Chairman of the Education Board had internet issues and stepped out, but we hope to have another conversation on the Ambazonian education system and curriculum coming up next week. So God bless you, ladies and gentlemen. Short live the struggle, and of course, long live Ambazonia. God bless you all.
Hail this land of glory, we the Ambazonians, special loyalty. Praise to our Savior who granted us the freedom, and legends to the hero who fought along we gather. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing with earth and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation.